second? All in favor?
Aye.
Welcome to this evening's meeting. Notice of this regular meeting of the Pitman Board of Education was advertised in the South Jersey Times, posted at Borough Hall, a copy thereof delivered to all Pitman schools to be posted, and posted on the district's website. Further notice was posted and filed as required by law, stating that the board would meet in closed session at 7 p.m. in the Pitman High School Media Center. The President shall entertain any objections with supporting reasons to the conduct of this meeting on the grounds it violates the Open Public Meeting Act. Seeing none, please join me in a moment of silence. Join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's going to bring us to our first, I apologize. Mrs. Rose, please call roll.
Ms. Miller?
Here.
Capillardo?
Here.
Grossman?
Present.
Higby-Iona?
Here.
Farrell?
Here.
Pote? Here. Bolton?
Here.
Crispin?
Here.
All in attendance.
Thank you. It's going to bring us to our first public comment. The Pitman Public School Board recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. This is the first of two public comments we will have tonight. The first public hearing is on agenda items only. This is a public comment and not a dialogue between the board and the public. You have 3 minutes to speak and it is your opportunity to comment or ask questions. In accordance with board policy number 0167, we ask that you state your name, municipality of residence, and group affiliation if applicable. To be recognized to speak, please stand behind the podium located to my left and speak clearly into the microphone. Seeing none, Mrs. Rose, any correspondence?
We do not have any.
I will now move to accept a motion for the minutes of the Pitman Board of Education as held on the dates listed below are approved as printed and reading dispensed with. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Any abstentions? Okay. It's going to bring us to our president's report. The Board of Education, several of the members were able to attend the PES HSA Back to School Fun Night, and we were able to man one of the tables, the temporary tattoo station. So if your kids came home with slightly crooked or wonky tattoos, I apologize. It was a really great night. As always, we really welcome any of those invites that give us an opportunity to interact in the community and to do something fun. It was really great to see some of the students and how excited they were for the new building, to them at least, and to see all of their classmates from their different sports teams all located in one building was really sweet to hear. If there are ever 501Cs in the community whose sole purpose is to support Pitman Public School students, they're welcome to email us any events or fundraisers, and we would be happy to share it in this portion of our meetings. Coming up at the end of October, we will have the New Jersey School Board Association workshop in Atlantic City. If you haven't done so already, if you could please let Stacy and I know if you are able to attend and what days. And then we've discussed this, we'd really like to coordinate any of the materials that are provided at the various workshops into one online directory so that if you aren't able to make that session, you could still see the slideshow or whatever kind of supplemental documentation that they provide. It really is a very helpful training opportunity for the board. One of the items that we need to keep on our radar is the data committee. We had discussed reconvening that in October, so if there are board members who would like to participate, I believe it was the math curriculum that we were evaluating this year, is that correct? Mm-hmm. As well as some of our standardized testing scores. So if you have an interest in serving on that committee, if you could email myself and Stacy, and we will start the ball rolling on that. And then on a final note, the Board of Education would like to thank our teachers, staff, administrators, central office employees, support staff, maintenance and grounds, the SROs, the Pitman PD, the superintendent and BA for all of their extra efforts in helping prepare our district for the 23-24 school year. The past several years have been immensely challenging for our district. The devastating reductions in our state aid have led to our district streamlining our operation across fewer buildings. The phrase I keep using to myself is we have to learn to live within our means. We recognize the drastic changes and the rapid implementation was only possible because of the district staff. The Board of Education is grateful for all of the staff and your continued support of Pitman Public Schools. We also feel the loss of your former colleagues to staffing reductions or to pursue other professional opportunities. We are fortunate to have had so many dedicated professionals that continue to stand by Pitman Public Schools. Preserving our unique traditions and excellent educational experiences for our students is due to your tireless efforts. As a board, we are all committed to maintaining Pitman Public Schools for students in preschool through 12th grade for many years to come. We value the education the Pitman Public School staff continues to provide for all of our students, and we want to extend our sincere gratitude as we start this school year. And now I will turn it over to Mr. Christmas.
Thank you. Number of items here that I just want to kind of review with the board, with our community. We'll start off with our district goals. Our district goals are listed in our agenda. We kind of took last year's, the goals that we've been using for the last couple of years, and tweaked them a little bit, but they align with pretty much what we wanted to focus on this year. Our focus this year was academics, communication, facilities, and safety. And as you read the goals, prepare a superior comprehensive educational program with a range of opportunities that fully prepare students for college, careers, and a productive life in the future. We really felt that that did a nice job of targeting our focus as far as academics is concerned. Create and maintain a safe, clean, and dynamic learning environment for teaching and learning. It's the areas of facilities and safety. This year we're adopting some new safety protocols. We're in the process of working through the training of those new protocols so that we're aligned with all the school districts in Gloucester County. We feel we can also continue to work and move forward with maintaining our facilities both inside and outside to the very best that we can. And last one is create a culture of community engagement and support for the district's mission. Kind of really hit that communication, because really to have that engagement, we really need to ensure that we're properly communicating all the great things that are happening and keeping our community informed of what's going on in our school district. I wanted to just address a little about the opening school. We appreciate the opening comments that have been shared. And we've come a long way. I think we all recognize in a very short period of time there was significant change that was undertaken here in the school district. We talk about the fact that the decisions were just discussed and approved in that March and April timeframe of last year, and it was a major undertaking to accomplish what we've accomplished. But with the efforts of our staff, especially those people that were here during the summertime, we were able to accomplish that. Our teachers and all the work that they had to do, especially those teachers that were relocated into new buildings or even within their buildings to be able to prepare their classrooms. Again, a lot of time and effort beyond any time that they were compensated for is the only reason that we were able to really be where we were that first day of school. I think we all recognize that this is our new normal. There was a significant amount of changes. We all valued and enjoyed the district that we had with our neighborhood schools, but unfortunately, as Mrs. Miller has indicated, there came a time in which that was not something that we could no longer financially support. So we do appreciate certainly the understanding of our staff and the changes that have taken place and their acceptance of those changes, and they have been significant when you look at, again, people moving and closing 2 schools and coming to a whole new school, and us making that work as what was once a high school, now is a comprehensive elementary school. We talk about the positives that we now have with everybody being together and the opportunities that that's going to provide our educational program. But there's things that we give up. I mean, when you had a principal of a smaller school, access to that individual having more knowledge of your child was much greater. And we're losing a little bit of that. So we hope our community will understand some of the challenges our building level administrators are dealing with. They still value that relationship with parents, and as we speak all the time. They're going to get there. It's just going to take them a little bit of time, and we ask for your patience. But they're in the process, Mr. Morris of getting to know those students at Kindle School, and Mrs. Mason getting to know those students from Wall School. But they will get there, and we'll soon have that type of feeling and that relationship, but we just hope everyone can be patient. But we were in a really good place, and it's a really exciting time. The other thing I had down there is the Summit Playground. We're a little bit delayed in terms of the installation. We were really, the plan was to have everything installed first and then start to work on all the little pieces. So what's going to be installed, we've shared that at the last community meeting. The site plan, anyone who would like to see that site plan, please just send me an email and I can send that to you. With half the field being a very comprehensive playground, a blacktop area that will take up pretty much half the field, to be surrounded by the Gaga pits that will be brought over, storage facility, some bathrooms, picnic tables, kind of a shaded area where people will have shade if they're sitting at those areas. Walkway, trying to make it almost as much handicap accessible as we possibly can. So I think there's a good plan for that space. It's just, we kind of would like to get the big piece in first before we start putting the smaller pieces. And then the one side of the field will be just maintained as an open space. We did try a little bit, as some people may know, of trying to begin that process of transitioning over to that space. It was a little challenging. The space was not ready for that. Some of our procedures in terms of moving students, we need to work through that process, and we're going to be doing that. I think as some of you may have seen the traffic lights, they're working on the blinking lights this week, so we anticipate that they'll be in place soon. We have the crossing guards are available and they're ready, so we hopefully will be able to make that transition as soon as the playground is complete, and we'll keep everybody posted. I want to mention strategic planning. Last year we went through a pretty comprehensive process with a large number of community members involved to go us through the strategic planning process. We are almost to that end. We kind of got just lost in a little bit of time with everything that was going on. We lost a little bit of our focus. We're going to reconvene the strategic planning committees and anyone else who would like to participate to finalize the final report. Everyone has met, everyone has identified their goals. Now we need to provide some objectives underneath those goals of what it is specifically we want to accomplish. We are targeting Wednesday, October 4th for that meeting. Everyone will meet in the cafeteria, and then we'll break up into our 3 groups. We had a communications group, we have a curriculum group, and we have a facilities group. For the members of the facilities group and any other members of the community, facilities had kind of finalized their goals and objectives, and we will take a few minutes to talk a little bit about what they are and if there's any tweaking we want to do. But we need to begin a shift in the facilities group because the facilities group came to a consensus that they feel in order for the district to properly address our facilities, it may need a referendum. Referendum has been a major part of every conversation that we had last year when we talk about the challenges of the district being our facilities. There is a window of opportunity that's sitting out there in 2 years in which we would have an opportunity to have one bond be paid off, and if there is a approved bond, would then go on with minimal tax impacts. It's kind of like a nice window to try to target if we can possibly do that. So we'll begin that conversation at that meeting on October 4th. So we will be reaching out to the committee for them to reconvene, and certainly any members of the community who would like to be part of that conversation, we would welcome you, and we'll extend that invite to everyone. I put down PSATs. I had shared with the board last week that we're going through a little bit of an issue with PSATs as the PSATs are transitioning from a paper and pencil exam assessment to a online assessment. In that transition, it's requiring a little bit more than maybe what we can provide right now in terms of training for staff in order for us to be able to administer the PSAT during a regular school day, which has been the practice for a number of years now. So because of that, those challenges, we may not be able to administer the PSATs during a school day and may have to look to do this on a Saturday. We know that is going to impact the number of students who may participate. PSATs are somewhat important because they are a means to meet the state graduation requirement for some students. There's a number of different ways in which you can meet the graduation requirement, PSATs, SATs, and there's a few other assessments that would also meet that requirement. So, we're struggling, but right now there are too many issues right now for us to overcome to be able to do it during a school day. There's a training of all staff. It's like a 4-hour training that they have to go through in order to be able to administer the assessment on a computer. Normally the students in 10th and 11th grade would come into the building. There would be a delayed opening. They would go into classrooms, into smaller groups. But again, because of that, we would have to have all those individuals trained, and we are anticipating we may not be able to do that. In addition, with the delayed opening, with having the 7th and 8th grade, it now adds to the number of students that we would have to manage because it's highly likely that the assessment will not be done at 10 o'clock, which is the start of our delayed opening, in order to meet a 4-hour requirement. So that delay and keeping students in an auditorium and just managing that would certainly also be a challenge. So again, another reasons why we're possibly and probably likely looking at a Saturday for the administration of the PSATs. If that is the case, it probably would be Saturday, October 14th. We'll finalize, we'll be meeting tomorrow with the administrative team. We'll finalize that as quickly as we can so we can get that information out to everyone. Krista, you want to talk a little about the ROD grant?
Yes. We were informed by Gloucester County that we were deemed eligible for our ROD grant. If you remember, we talked about this in the past. We put in 2 ROD grants, one for HVAC and heating for our gym and weight room. And the second one that we put in was a drainage issue that we have out in the staff auditorium parking lot. We have only been found eligible for the first one. That's what they have stopped the cutoff in what they call Tier 1, which is HVAC. So we have been found eligible. Right now, our application is in process of being approved by the state, and once we receive the approval, official approval from the state, we will go out to bid for HVAC and heating for our gymnasium and weight room.
And the state, a little bit of breakdown on how the cost is structured.
Oh, I'm sorry. So we had to budget fully for this project, and we will receive 40% back from the state. So it's a 60-40 breakout, and we're looking forward to that. Let's hope that we get this, because it would be fantastic for our gymnasium to have new heating and weight room.
And big part that we'd be able to keep out of the referendum potentially to be
Yes.
able to use for other purposes, which is really nice. Just want to mention 2 other things real quick. I mentioned the flashing lights. We hope to have them up and running real soon. The other one is the preschool program over at Wall School. It seems to be going very smoothly. As you may or may not know, Elk Township is leasing space for us. They're leasing 5, 6, 7 classrooms?
Yes, 6 classrooms right now.
Pretty much that whole wing at Wall School. There's 2 classes in there right now. It's their 2 preschool disabled classes. These are the students that would be in their preschool. They have applied for the grant and probably should hear any day, whether they're going to be awarded that grant. They're very optimistic. We are very optimistic. If they're awarded the grant, we're looking at somewhere around November for them to move in permanently into that area. I think I've said at other venues that we have another district that is also very interested. They will be applying for the grant next year in possibly leasing some spaces, maybe at Wall School, and maybe some spaces at Kindle School also. And that's it.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and turn it over to our student representative, Ms. Mazzola.
The PES HSA hosted a fun back-to-school event on August 29th, and students were welcomed back to school on the 6th. While there may be congestion in the hallways, the integration of the junior and senior high in one building has been a success in the past 2 weeks. Fall sports have started with field hockey, girls tennis, football, cheerleading, and soccer. Along with that, musicians from PHS performed for the 9/11 ceremony on Monday the 11th. Student councils announced the date of homecoming and Spirit Week activities on social media and in meetings. Students are looking forward to the dance and fun Spirit Week that follows. Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Committee Chairman, Mr. Grossman, for Finance and Facilities.
Thank you. The Finance and Facilities Committee met on Wednesday, September 13th, 2023 at 12:30 p.m. In attendance were Mr. Crispin, Mrs. Rose, Mrs. Miller, Mrs. Higby-Iono, and myself. Some of the items we discussed included the agenda items listed tonight, with greater discussion regarding number 11, the Go Guardian, which allows the district to monitor students' school issues and Chromebook use. We also discussed the elementary school playground and the delayed equipment. The equipment was ordered on June the 7th with an anticipated arrival in August. We are now being told the equipment may be as late as October 24th, which is disappointing to all of us. We also discussed the district bus, or whether we should consider the sale of the bus. We have had difficulty over the years in retaining a bus driver, and we incur costs such as inspection, maintenance, while owning this bus. We discussed the possibility of incentivizing staff members who are interested in obtaining their CDLs to do so. The bus seats 22 passengers and could be used for smaller athletic or extracurricular co-curricular groups' transportation needs. The state has eliminated what is known as the under-the-hood requirement for school bus drivers to expand the pool of candidates with CDLs. With that, I'd like to make a motion to approve items 1 through 13 as written. It's 13.
There's one added on. I think I used the,
Ah,
that's the draft one.
yeah.
I didn't know.
Dan's fault.
That's
1 through
Dan.
14, I'm sorry.
Dan's fault.
Blame somebody.
It's fine. That's why I'm here.
May I have a second?
Second, Higby, Iono.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Mrs. Rose, call the vote, please.
Everything Higby Iono.
Yes.
Bolton.
Yes.
Farrell.
Yes.
Papalardo.
Yes.
Coat.
Yes.
Grossman.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Motion passed.
I'll turn it over to Curriculum and Instruction, Committee Chairperson, Mrs. Bacalaro.
Good evening, everyone. The Curriculum Instruction Committee met on Tuesday, September 12th at 4. In attendance were Mr. Crispin, Mrs. Moody, Mrs. Rose, Mrs. Bolton, Mrs. Pote, and myself. Some of the items we discussed included the fact that there are not a lot of staff approvals on the agenda, and that's pretty common because of the time of the year that it is right now. Mrs. Moody gave us some information on a program where we can get some high-impact tutoring for some of our students. It's actually, there's a motion on the agenda tonight, but the motion is only for us to approve sending in the application. And she gave us a little bit of information about what it could look like if we do get our application approved, how this program would work. Also, most of the curriculum work that staff completed over the summer is also on the agenda to be approved. There are 1 or 2 things that still need a few more hours to kind of tighten them up, but for the most part, everything has been finished. We also talked about the district bus and what we thought would maybe be the best use of it, whether we should keep it or sell it. The maintenance costs that are involved, and if we could find a driver to drive it, how would we use it? We also discussed grounds and maintenance needs and the possibility of hiring someone to be a floater between all 3 buildings to fill in for wherever there might be a need for grounds, maintenance, custodial, anything that might pop up. And with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve items 2 through 50 as written.
May I have a second?
Second, Bolton.
Any discussion? All right, seeing none, Mrs. Rose, please call the vote.
Higby Iono.
I have to abstain from item number 49. Yes to all others.
Bolton.
Yes.
Farrell.
Yes.
Papalardo.
Yes.
Coat.
Yes.
Grossman.
Yes.
Miller.
I abstain from number 2, and yes to all others, please.
Motion passed.
And that will bring us to communication policy, and I will turn it over to Committee Chairperson Higby Iono.
The Communication and Policy Committee met on September 13th at 5 p.m. In attendance were Mrs. Miller, Mrs. Farrell, Mr. Crispin, Mrs. Rose, and myself. The committee discussed and is recommending approval of the first reading of the revised district-wide parent and family engagement policy and approval of the Title I school-level parent and family engagement policies for the 2023-2024 school year. This is a policy that's required to be approved each school year. The committee also discussed the possible need to provide more information to parents about how best to use the IXL program to help their children at home, and the possible need to adopt a policy regarding when assistant coaches are necessary for particular sports. I'll now move to approve items 1 and 2 as written.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Mrs. Rose, please call the vote.
Higby Iono.
Yes.
Bolton.
Yes.
Farrell.
Yes.
Papalardo.
Yes.
Coat.
Yes.
Grossman.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Motion's approved.
It's going to bring us to our second public comment. Please state your name, municipality of residence, and group affiliation if applicable, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. If you'd like to be recognized to speak, please come before this podium right here.
Three minutes?
3 minutes. Thank you.
Public, anybody? Appreciate that. Don't start the clock yet. I'd like to thank you all for your support. In the weight room, I'm Mr. Reed. I teach here. This is my 19th year at Pitman. And anyone that came to back to school night, I made sure that they took a walk down and saw our shiny little diamond. So it was well received. And the middle school kids were in there yesterday. And the high school kids have been in there. I have a class that starts their day in there, 3 upper weight exercises, 3 lower weight. Okay, so thank you. I'm here for, and I believe you guys have discussed this already, I'm looking for your support on a second paid coach for the girls' tennis program. And I just don't know where the disconnect is. I ask you to ask me any questions on the paper they have in front of you. My principal is supporting me, my athletic director is supporting me. We want Panther Pride, we want kids involved, and I've always gotten kids involved. So our numbers are up to 16. So I see it as a 16-to-1 ratio. And I'm really in an uncomfortable situation sometimes with that amount of girls and me being the only coach, paid assistant. So if I could just go through this, I don't know how many of you have ever been to a tennis match. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand if you have been to a tennis match. Okay, and I think that's a big part of this. I can't do this podium.
Thank you. If you're not going to do the podium, if you could please just hold the microphone. It's just for the people at home so they can hear you.
I'm not comfortable with that either.
Sorry.
I can't get it out of there. Tony, can you help me? Okay, I'm going to go down this sheet on game day. Whether you know it or not, there's 5 matches going on at one time. They count for the match. We're competing a varsity athletic event to win the match, and you support. One coach oversees the 3 singles matches that goes on at the same time, and in my case, I cover the 2 doubles matches. In between every odd game, the girls are allowed to get coaching from their coaches. So 20 of the 23 Tri-County schools support their programs with 2 coaches. We do not. And our girls work hard, and our girls are good. And I'm trying to put them in the best position to be successful, and I think we need another paid coach, so I know they're there all the time. This weekend, I had a tournament. I was the only one available, and I had girls at Kingsway, and I had girls at Clearview at the same time. So Mr. Shivers, thankfully, supported me with a representative from the school to cover their site that I couldn't be at. Road matches, I've been on my own with these girls. I had a situation last year at Woodstown. It was very uncomfortable. I had to be removed from coaching to attend to a player. Practices, it's very difficult if it's 16-to-1. There's days when my volunteer assistants cannot be there. I talked about the tournaments. I have a paid assistant in mind, and he will be fully committed to the job. So I would like you to ask me some questions because I don't understand where the disconnect is here. I'm trying to build a program. We want kids involved. We want them committed to the school. We want Panther Pride. I've always gotten numbers out of my programs, and I think this number at 16 is a great representation and deserves a second paid coach.
So that's the 30. The board really can't ask questions in this format just because it's public comment, but if they do have any, what I can tell them to do, if you have any questions, funnel them through Mr. Crispin and he'll send them to you.
Okay.
All right.
Now, we have an indoor track situation. where there's 2 paid coaches that don't accommodate as many players as I am. In the contract that you negotiated, there's an assistant field hockey coach. That stipend is not being used. So, quite honestly, I'm very frustrated. I would hope this could get done this year. I'm not even asking kids to come out and play this year. Rebecca will vouch for that. There's kids in the building that I ask to play my sport. I tell them in the wintertime, I'll push them in the pool, they can go swim. I mean, I'm the biggest recruiter for extracurricular activities in the building. So I wouldn't be here. I tried to get it through negotiations in the beginning through Tony. I'm sure Grant has heard this more times than he wants to. Steve has gone out of his way to meet with me, and I'm here tonight to find a way to get this connected so you guys understand the need. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to participate in the public hearing?
Hi, my name is Faith Ralph, and I'm sorry I have a very scratchy voice. I'm a parent, and do you need any other information from me?
Just your
So-
name.
Your name
Faith.
and municipality of residence.
Yes, I live in Pitman.
I'm sorry, what's your last name? I didn't catch that.
Ralph,
Ralph.
R-A-L-P-H. My daughter plays on the tennis team, and I just wanted to thank Coach Reed for all his support and everything that he does all the time. Whenever you ask him how his day is going, he says, I have the best job in the world, which is amazing. He has given so much support to a lot of the younger players that he has been developing, and I appreciate all he's done. I do have to say my daughter has an insect allergy and carries an EpiPen everywhere she goes. It is very imperative that she has somebody who is trained and can administer that to her. And so I'm grateful for his presence there. At this past weekend, she did not play in the tournament, but they were at Clearview High School. There are 8 courts there. It is a lot of ground to cover, and having to move between the 2 tournament or between the doubles and the singles matches. Should she have been playing over at the high school or at the Kingsway High School in the doubles match, it would have been an unsafe situation for her to not have her coach there. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak in our public hearing? Seeing none. Do we have any old business? New business?
I will just take 1 minute to share something, because it just came out today. I would kind of end on a real positive note. I was with a group of teachers at the high school, middle school, junior, senior high school, and with math, and we were just talking, and somehow the conversation worked its way to talking about some students, and one of the teachers mentioned a student that returned to Pitman, had left Pitman for their freshman year, came back this year, and just how happy that individual was to be here. Happy because of the environment being much smaller than the environment that student was experiencing previously, the fact that teachers actually knew who he was, and that really meant a lot to this individual. Mentioned class size, and class size is a little bit of an issue. We have some large classes at the high school where we've had to combine some together, especially where we only offer that subject during one period of the day. But generally speaking, I think we're really in a really good place. And ironically, mentioned the weight room also. The fact that that was something that that individual did not have access to, and was really excited about the opportunities that this will now provide. And I think we have others that are in that kind of that same situation. They're just happy to be here, and it was really good to hear.
Does anybody else have any business? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Big B.
May I have a second?
Second, Carol.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next regular Board of Education meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, October 18th at the Pitman High School Media Center. Thank you. Thank you.